Rabbitohs Radio Podcast, the number one source for everything South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell. I'm joined by my loyal co-host and friend, Darren Browny Brown, and Big Les from Big Les Rugby League Podcast. What's doing, boys?
Yeah, not too much, boys. How we going?
Not too bad, mate. Just started the cut. I tell you what, I'm feeling it on the first day. Like, the bulk was just, I take it for granted because it was so good. You could just eat whatever you wanted, unlimited food. I didn't have to worry about being hungry because I could just go down and grab a snack. Now I can't even snack. Like, I was at work, people are offering me chocolates. I have to push back on it. It's like, mate, it's a war.
He's been on 3,500 calories a day. That's a lot of calories. That'll feed an army.
Unbelievable. You're very disciplined, Big Les.
Well, I have to be now. It's a tough battle, tough mental battle.
Yeah.
I've been on the seafood diet, just eating whatever I want. Yeah.
So have I over the last couple of weeks in Bali and that, but I'm like you, mate, on a strict diet, trying to burn as many calories, active calories in a day.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get up to 1,000 a day now.
Do you have a pad see you on the beach?
Had a couple.
Oh, what's yeah. Perfect. Bintang?
Plenty of bintangs and, plenty of good food.
Yeah.
It's just not a bad spot, Bali, is it? I'll get over there one day at some stage, Browny, and try and emulate what you've just done, mate. Just a battler butt.
Yeah.
I'll get overseas one day, mate.
Wolfies, mate.
Might make my way to Tasmania soon. Get in and see me. A couple of mates down there. But look, what's on the show, boys? We're going to recap the 34-12 loss to Penrith last Friday night. We're going to talk about the courage of Tyrone Munro, one of the toughest weeks we've had in the club for many years for a guy like that. Team list Tuesday. We're going to talk about who's going, who's staying, and a couple of possible signings, boys. But we'll bring it back to Friday night last week. Went out there with cousin from Queensland and a husband and big Scotty Singles out to the Penrith Panthers. I got a bus, a tram, a train, and about a 15-minute walk. And we got out there. Mate, it's a great stadium, a great atmosphere. Pity they're knocking it over to the last game this week down there. But
look, BlueBet's awesome. I've been down there as well, and I'll tell you what, people say the atmosphere at Allianz is crazy. You should go to BlueBet for a game and just sit in the crowd. It is absolutely wild. They go nuts for their team out there, and rightfully so. I mean, they've won the last 3 comps, been in the last 4 grand finals, but the atmosphere there is crazy.
Yeah, the fans, they love their footy out there. I spent a lot of time out there myself when I played out there from 94 to 98. So, yeah, passionate fans, a great football community. They're very well into their footy out there. And, it's outstanding. And it was always going to be a tough ask for our team to go out there on last Friday night and get the win. Coming up against a Penrith team that have lost 2 in a row. They hadn't lost 3 in a row for about 3 or 4 years. So it was always going to be a tough ask, and the result went that way.
Yeah, they got off to a pretty good start. Penrith, 18, 20-odd nil before we got into the game in terms of points-wise. But we did sort of test him a little bit. We had a nice shift to the right and come back the other way. And Cody hit Tallis Duncan, I think it was, short, which I like the look of that. He attacked that right edge of Penrith Panthers there, but Cody wrapped around the backside. And I think he should have hit Jack, but he went for the floater out to Tai to try and get a try for the young fella. But, yeah, it got pulled back. There was a Jai Grable, I think, was over the line. Looked like there was a couple of angles where I thought he'd seen the ball touch the line. I think Tane Milne dived for a ball down low. Look, there was a couple of chances we created there, but at the end of the day, Penrith had 8 line breaks. We had 1.
Yep.
That was the result there. So.
Yeah, we didn't really threaten them with the ball apart from the times that you just spoke about, Chaps. We scored 2 tries, one from a kick and one from an intercept. But apart from that, they got on a bit of a roll, Penrith, and it looked like the score was going to be anything. So we've got to give a big rap to the boys' effort. I thought their effort was outstanding. We could have really let that game go, but we hung in there, and I think the score only ended up 36-12 or something like that, wasn't it?
I think goal line D in the second half was great. I think that we really defended well in the second half. Much improvement from the first. I think that the boys really did show a bit of effort, and we said that on the show, boys, in the preview as well. What is the one thing we were looking for the boys this week against the Panthers and obviously against the Roosters this week? It's effort. We saw that in the second half. We saw that they obviously kept it tighter than we probably should have been. Penrith were a little bit ill-disciplined and lacked a bit of structure there with our Cleary as well. So the scoreline should have been much higher than it was, but for us to keep it tight, I think it does show a lot about our effort and how we're wanting to end the year.
We spoke about connectivity, and I think it was Myers and Hosty defending next to each other. It sort of didn't look good at times. I think they pushed up past the ball a few times, and that's how they got that second try, definitely. And it cost them again in the second half with the Luai when Luai went through. But other than that, I mean, they just kept swinging and having a crack, didn't they? And looks like it's cost Myers his position this week, actually.
Well, we spoke about that last week on the show, Chaps, the connection in defence, and it was non-existent the week before. And it was non-existent early on in the game when they scored their first 2 tries. They went through pretty much untouched, and that's something that we've got to get right. I know there's only one game to go, but we really want to get it right this week against the Roosters. Otherwise, once again, the score could end up anything.
And I think that with obviously Richie coming back into the side this week, they are going to try and really hammer down defence on our edges, especially going up against the Roosters side, who have a lot of strike on their edges. Obviously, Manu moves back to centre. Suwali comes back into the team as well. They've got strike on their edges. Young, when he's on attacking wise, he's great. As I said, really great side. Junior Ponga comes in this week as well. So defense on our edges is key. I think that he sort of compromised the speed and the X factor for the defense.
Yeah, he certainly did. Just on Tai before we move on from this game, 190 metres, 2 tries, should have scored a third. It was right in front of us. We're in the Royce Simmons box there. It was me and my cousin, the only ones wearing a polo shirt out of 60 people, mind you. We went off when Tai scored his first one. And
How was Royce?
The whole box just looked at us.
How was Royce?
It was good. I called Royce over and explained to him what happened to him. None of them even knew, the Panthers guys, what happened, that he'd lost not only his mother, but his uncle the following day. So he went through a very tough period. And then they started to come around on him, mate. They were really sympathetic to what happened to him. I don't know too many rugby league players that's ever happened to. Brownie, you've been in the game longer than me, but that was phenomenal for him to knuckle down. I thought he was our best player by a country mile. His carries are strong. He was in the game. Defensively, he played pretty well too. I think he came up with a couple of good defensive reads. I think he missed a couple here and there, but he's young. I just can't imagine what the bloke went through. And at the end of the game, the way the whole South Sydney club, every single person, including Charlie Rabbit, went over to that corner. I jumped out of where we were and went down and seen Josh Kemp and the boys. And, yeah, it was something really special.
Yeah, it's like takes a special player to do what he did, Chaps, and a special person, because on the day of the captain's run, he made a decision to play. He lost his mum the day before, and the next day after the captain's run, he'd lost his uncle. Now, I thought for sure he wouldn't play, losing 2 family members, but look, he turned up, and like you said, he was probably one of our best players on the field, and credit to you, mate. In tough circumstances, to lose your mum and uncle in 2 days was outstanding. To go out there, pull on the jersey. He did himself proud. He did his family proud. He's got a couple of younger brothers, and he did the club proud. And I'd just like to give Brian Toho a mention as well, because he gave him a mention, and he even wore his mum's name and his uncle's name on his wristbands, and that's Brian Toho. So a credit to you, mate.
Yeah, 100%. Shows a lot of mental toughness to do what Tyrone Munro did, to go out and play after 2 significant losses. I mean, Brownie, you've pretty much summed it up very well. So tough. The whole South Sydney club's behind you at the moment, mate. Wishing you all the best during this time. And it shows who you are as a person as well, to come out and play regardless of these sort of circumstances as well, and do your family proud.
And he's probably got another tough week coming up, because both funerals, I don't know when they are, but I'm sure they'll be this week or maybe next week sometime. So, yeah, let's everybody get around him. He's got some great support. I know he's very close to Josh Adokar. He was very close to his uncle as well. So, yeah, let's everyone get around him, support him, and, head up, mate.
Look, I mean, we didn't get the win. Obviously, we're beating 34 points to 12, which is probably par with where they're travelling, where we were travelling. But I still think it was one of the moments of the season, watching Tai score that double and what happened in the corner. I was lucky enough to be there to witness it, and how emotional it was, and all his family and friends were there. And not only that, the hardcore South fans, the Burrow crew, and yeah, that was something I'll never forget, and one of the real moments of the season. Well done to you, Tai, the way you carried yourself, and thoughts and prayers are with you.
With how the Rabbitohs played, and then with how he played, it's 2 separate performances too. He played out of his skin, and it just goes to show how tough he is again to have that sort of performance after 2 tragic things. Because obviously this sort of thing's going to affect you mentally as well going into a game if you are going to play like he did. For him to just switch on, get into the game, and to play the way that he did as well is just such a testament to who he is as a person.
And both his tries were very highly skilled tries as well. That first try that he scored, he had to slow himself down and get the ball on the bounce.
Didn't even have a full grip on it, did he, Brad?
That's
He was
right.
able to control it and get it. A bit like Tupou in that one the other week, right on the bell there. There's some real skill, and he's been in the game 250 games at Tupou. So,
and then the intercept try, that was unbelievable, Chaps. How good did he look striding out? I know there was no one in Coote of getting him, but geez, he looked quick. He looked like he was running very easy. Looked like a gazelle.
No one gained a yard on him. That's one thing about Penrith. They don't have that breakneck speed in any of their players, do they? Like I think live, I don't know what it looked like on TV, but Edwards is nowhere near 100%. Like just off the ball, he's just not moving like he used to. That knee looks.
I think that PCL's troubling him. I don't think he's 100%. He'd probably taken some
he just didn't look well, mate. I've got to say.
You know what? You make the comparison with Tyrone Munro and Daniel Tupou. I can probably see, Tyrone Munro fitting into that young Daniel Tupou sort of mould. He's sort of that sort of player with a bit of speed.
Well, we mentioned that 100-metre dash the week before, and I did mention Ty Munro. Would he come into calculation? And the way he ran the other day,
he wasn't at full speed either. I think he was going to be in that cutout, the double cutout by Jackie. He looked like he was about to hit the gas there, but the referee pulled it up, unfortunately. But he come down the next day on the Saturday. We had a NAIDOC event, which I started back in the early teens there, with 217, 218, and well done for him to coming down. A lot of the South blokes did appreciate. Thanks for coming down, guys. But in real life, he's a big unit. Tai.
Yeah, he's about 6'3".
Give him a hug and told him I loved him, and proud of what he did. But he's a champion.
Chaps.
Him and
well done.
Chaps.
And one of the great men was down there too, Buddy Gordon, who's retired 20 years in the game. He pulled the pin in the New South Wales Cup. They nearly pulled the pants down to the Panthers as well. They put on a good fight. But that was about it there from Penrith boys and Teamless Tuesday. What do you think about the sides?
Look, very, very interesting. I want to give a quick shout out here. Now, I know it's a bit poor form from me giving a shout out to a Rooster on a Rabbitohs radio podcast, but my mate, D. Larcell, he's going to be debuting off the bench there for the Roosters. Congratulations to you, mate. Might need a bit of headgear, though, before you go out and debut for that Origin under-19s game. But, looking forward to it. I know there's a lot of people that are looking forward to seeing how he goes as well. Just got upgraded to the top 30 for the Roosters as well, which is huge. I cannot wait to see how he goes.
Tell us a bit about him, mate. His size, where he's from, what style of player he is for the people that don't know.
Well, mate, I guess a lot of people would have seen him in that under-19s Origin game. He is humongous. He'd be about 6'5", 6'6". He's absolute weapon. Moves really well for his size as well. Got great footwork. I've played alongside him as well for Marsland. We won a comp together as well in the A grade. Absolute unit of a player. And
you carried him, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly, mate.
Let's be honest.
He played off the back of me, mate. He played off the back of me in my sets.
What position is he?
Front row.
Front row. So playing up front, yeah.
So he'll be playing up front. Sensational player. And, you would have seen that under-19s Origin game. He's got some real ticker. He can play big minutes as well. Great motor on him. I'm keen to see what his role is going to be in this Roosters side. Obviously came down from Queensland to sign with the Roosters. I think a part of his contract was that he would come to Marsland. The nicest bloke you'll ever meet as well.
It's going to be a big moment for the young kid making his debut, especially against the arch rivals, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, the Book of Feud, so they say. But, really big moment for him and his family. I'm sure he'll have plenty of family members travelling out there to watch him play, and we wish him all the best on this Rabbitohs radio podcast, even though he is a Rooster.
Yeah. Look, in the program, he's written down as a $198 centimetres, so he's a big unit, 114 kilos, 19. He's only just turned 19 a couple of weeks ago, so we almost share a birthday together there, big fella. But I think the contract you're on, you must be your shout next time I see you, buddy. But
well, just going back to that, and he's got his opportunity because they've had a horror run with injuries last week. I think they got 5 key players out, and obviously there's been a couple of players called up, but they still field a very strong team, the Roosters. They've got a lot of depth there. Still got a lot of experienced players there. Not like us. I mean, we've got 8 or 9 players out, and our depth is a little bit skinny at the moment, and that's why we're travelling the way we are. But I suppose the Roosters will still be confident, but let's talk about our team, Chaps.
Yeah, well, I mean, we obviously lost Jack Wighton to a calf injury late last week. I think he come off with 15 to go. And the replacement there is Dean Hawkins. I think he's outgoing. From what I understand, I think he's heading towards Parramatta. They're just waiting to see if they can find a spot for him over there. So Dean, thanks for all your service, mate. He's a great general play kicker, and we know he'd love to play one last game against the Roosters for the Mighty Rabbits. So there's a
Yeah,
little bit of a change there, and Richie Kennar as well.
Yeah,
comes
well,
in.
just on Dean, Chaps, a local junior. And look, we don't like to see our local juniors leave the club, but look, it's a business these days. Young Taffy moved on last year. We've got Dean Hawkins moving on this year. And look, you can't keep them all. Obviously, Wayne Bennett's coming in and he's going to bring a semi-new roster to the system. And look, we wish Dean all the best, a young Matraville boy. And I'm sure he would have loved to have stayed at the club, and so would have a couple of others. But unfortunately, it doesn't work out that way all the time.
100% footy, Dean. Wish you all the best, mate. If you go to Parramatta, like Chaps is saying, you deserve it. You deserve to be in a first grade side as well. You had some great form over the past few years in the lower grades, so it's good to see if you can get that opportunity there at Parramatta. New South Wales Cup, and maybe even play some games in first grade over there during the Origin period if Moses is the guy next
He'll
year
be
too.
the man, I'd say.
He's won the New South Wales Cup Player of the Year twice, so he's a fair player, Dean. And he come into grade, and he just had Adam Reynolds in front of him there a few years. I think he copped a couple of ankle injuries, and look, he was an outstanding junior coming through. He probably hasn't quite reached his potential yet, but who knows? Parramatta might be able to get the best out of him. Good luck to Footy Dean in his last game here at the Mighty Rabbits. At this stage, maybe he might come back, but you never know. You're luck in rugby league. The other one is, the 50 gamer. Richie Kennar is going to play his 50th game. He comes in for Fletcher Myers, who, look, he's done really well, Fletcher Myers.
Yep.
We like what he's seen in the attack. He's probably got a bit to work on defensively. I think we knew that coming in.
Yeah, look, there was the one point that you raised watching him in New South Wales Cup before he did make his debut was the defence. I think that, as I said before, with the back line and how it's shaped, bringing Kenner back into the side for his 50th game, it's a very heavily focused defensive back line here against the Roosters side with so much strike on their edges too. A much younger back line, obviously taking Tupou out of the equation, bringing in Junior Ponga. I'm very keen to see, that matchup as well, the few matchups that are there and defensively if the boys can handle it. But we got a few milestones in our side this week.
Yeah, we certainly have. I was just about to mention that as well. And look, congratulations to Richie playing 50. It's not hard enough to play one game, let alone 50. So, yeah, well done to Richie. He's been in and out of the top grade over the last couple of years, but he's did a job for us. He scored some great tries, and hopefully he can do it again on the weekend. But like you said, a couple of milestones. I think Havili's playing his 100th.
150.
150, yeah.
yeah.
Kepi's having 100th. But, yeah, I think Richie Kennar started in Melbourne, didn't he? I think he had a Mormon mission, then he went to Brisbane. Then he came to us, then went back to Brisbane and back to us. So he's had a bit of a journey to get to that 50.
Yeah.
He's gone via Perth to get to the Gold Coast from Sydney to the Gold Coast, but that's the way it goes. Everyone takes a long route every now and again. And, yeah, Kepi, he's an experienced campaigner now, 100 under the belt for a front row. It's not bad. And Liver Havili, I think he played pretty well in his small minutes last week. So good luck to those blokes. But most importantly, we're going to recognise and pay tribute to the 14th of Mortal Ron Coote in the Ron Coote Cup, where we've won 9 and we've held the trophy 9 times and they've held it 8 times. So we've got a slight edge there. And I think Cookie said at the press conference today when I went down there, he said we've only got to win by 43 points to gain the Ron Coote Cup this year. So he goes, that's what he's aiming for.
Well, he had that much of an impact that they've gone back to the old number style, and they're going to honour him with the lock forward wearing number 8 this week. Tallis Duncan will be wearing that jumper and all in gold. So, yeah, the old days where number 13 and 11 were up front, and, number 12 was the hooker. So, yeah, congratulations to Ron, and look forward to seeing you out there, mate. He's a tremendous fellow. We spoke about his achievements on the show over the last couple of weeks, and yeah, we'll be looking forward to honouring him on Friday night.
100%, and the fact that he's been inducted as the 14th Immortal just makes this competition so much more special as well. Obviously played for both Rabbitohs and Roosters. He gets inducted as an Immortal, and obviously paying tribute to him from both angles, from both sides in this game. It is going to be a great one to watch, and particularly with both sides having players out. Evens it out a little bit. I'm really looking forward to this contest.
Yeah, I think Ron Coote's bringing the game ball in on a new model of MG car. I actually was down there the other week and they unveiled it down there at Redfern. It's called Cybster or something like that. It's a bit of a sports car, a bit of a replica of the old MGs, and they're a pretty classy car, European car back in the day. But there's a bit of a side note
They've
there
done
for anyone that cares. But
they've done him a bit dirty there. They brought the police force in on a chopper, mate. What's the go there?
Yeah.
Should bring him in a private jet.
So, yeah, exactly.
Rusty's private jet could land in the middle of the ground. But yeah, I don't know. But Ronnie, bit of a thrill for him there. Come out in the bit of a sports car, and I think we got some old boys out there. Brownie, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, we have. We've got an old boys do on Friday night. We'll be starting at the South Juniors. There is a men of league function on there as well throughout the day, so there'll be plenty of heads there. If you're looking at getting the tram out, come upstairs to the Henry Morris Bar. The old boys will be up there. There's a big group of us. We'll be getting on a bus heading out to the stadium. We've got a special section out there. We'll be enjoying the festivities and the hospitality out there. But, doing a lap of honour as well and a guard of honour for the players to run out to. And that's when we'll get to see Ronnie as well. So, yeah.
Sounds like a big day, Brent. You might have to have a lie down between this function and the game. It's 12 o'clock.
No,
the game starts at 8, doesn't it?
Well, 12 o'clock is the Men of League, 12 to 4, and then we're going straight next door to the Henry Morris Bar where the old boys start at 5.
So it's 8 hours on the piss before the game starts, yeah? All right. So ring me Saturday, I'll let you know who won. This could be anything.
I've got to go to work on Saturday. So, and just going back to Ronnie, look, he played for both clubs. I know it's our home game, so that's probably why we're honouring him. But, yeah, look, he was a champion rugby league player.
Is it true he lived on the border? I think he lived on Meek Street, Kingsford. That's where he grew up, or Kensington, where he grew up. And he was right in the border. Roosters was on that side. He was on this side. So he grew up at Rabbitohs, and then he jumped the fence and went over and played for the Roosters. His old man played for the Roosters, but didn't he?
He did, yeah.
So
the Prince of Locks, Ronnie Coote.
We're still claiming. We'll claim you. Don't worry about them, mate. That's our go. But, yeah, look, speaking about the Prince of Locks, Tallis Duncan, he was down there at their press conference today, and he was speaking about the fact that it's the first time he's ever started lock forward in first grade. So, big moment for him, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we are, chaps. And how many times have we said that he plays in the Cameron Murray mould? And that's exactly where Cameron fits and plays his best footy when he's playing at number 13. So, yeah, looking forward to watching him play. He can play that link man. He's got a strong running game, a great defender, and, yeah, really looking forward to him playing big minutes in the number 8 jumper. I was going to say number 13, but number 8 this week. So, yeah. Good luck to Tallis.
100%. Good luck to Tallis. I think that it's going to be great to see him start in that 13. You talked about him playing like Cam Murray, having a link man at 8. Yeah. He plays a lot like Cam Murray, the link man through the middle. Having that style of play back in our side is going to really help us this week. And I think Keon just has suited the edge better. And I know that he's had some massive games in the middle, but it just feels like the edge suits him a little bit better towards the back end of the year.
Yeah, I like to see him get a little bit aggressive there on the edge and try and trample some of these halfback. We know, look, Kiri's not the best defender. Either Sandon Smith. So, him and Hosty have got a job there to try and trample them two little blokes and try and punch some holes and see if Cody can play off the back of it. I know Cody's going to be looking for Tyrone Munro. He skipped on that left-hand side of the field more than I've seen him in a while. So he'd be
you know what? That's actually another thing to discuss. Cody back on the left. Obviously played right for most of the year in that number 7. He goes back to the left now with Wighton out and Hawkins back on that right side. Do you think as well that Tyrone might get moved? I think he sort of alternated between left and right over the past few weeks. Do you think he's just going to stay on that right now and have that combination with Hawko?
No, I think he'd be a left wing with Cody sitting on that side. I reckon that's where he's going to be. Gagai stays on the other side and the right side with Hawko. And look, thinking about that, I think you'd get yourself down for a hat trick. Tyrone Munro against the Chookies. There's your tip of the week there. I think them two linking up together. It's going to go a long way to us being at least competitive in the contest and possibly winning it. They're on the heels at the moment, the Roosters. That was a bruising game, and no one's spoken about it. It's a 5-day turnaround.
And they won't admit it.
Canberra Raiders, like Brownie said it at work the other day to a Roosters fan. He said, mate, you got bashed. They wouldn't admit it.
No,
the Roosters fans won't admit it, but you got bashed. And don't worry about the blokes got injured.
Yeah.
Canberra were well on top before anyone got hurt.
100%. And look, I only call it how I see it. If we go into a game and we get beat convincingly, congratulations to the other side, and how we get beat, I'll be honest with it, But you try and tell that to a Roosters supporter that they absolutely got bashed against the Raiders. They can't handle it.
They can't. Exactly. They can't handle it.
Cannot handle it.
Oh God, boys, this is gold. This is gold. Yeah, look, they got flogged through the middle by Canberra. Canberra were much more up for the fight, and that's a big reason as to why they won that game. So if we can start well through the middle and get that momentum, and start to play off our edges a bit more.
And just back to the game a little bit more, I just want to
Yeah.
stick it in a little bit more because Canberra, the Roosters had 60% of the ball, and Elliot Whitehead was off for 20 minutes. There's another couple of stats to get into you.
Wow. How did they get beat? That's 60% of the ball. That's actually getting the embarrassing stakes, isn't it?
Well, they
anyway,
got bashed. That's what it was.
Honestly, I think Robbo was out of line, what he said to Elliot Whitehead. I know it's completely off subject, but, mate, how dare he beeline for a bloke and tell him that he's a serial offender in that regard when he's got Victor Radley on his team and he's got Jared Warrior-Hargreaves, the most suspended and cited players in the league history.
And he said it happens.
How many people have they heard over the years?
Well, he said it happens too often. And Lindsay Collins had been charged just as much as Elliot Whitehead for hip drops this year.
Well, you know what? Elliot Whitehead's only been charged twice for a hip drop in his entire career as well. So.
Yeah. Well, there
Wow.
you go. So there you go. So, and look, to be honest with you, it was an accident. I don't think he slid.
It was 100% it was
he
an
didn't
accident.
slide down.
Yeah.
Okay. He grabbed
went
him in
high.
the same position.
Brandon Smith contributed to it, no doubt about it, by trying to move underneath him.
I think there's obviously a lot of emotion there when these sort of things are said. But when Elliot Whitehead obviously came up to Brandon Smith while he was going off the field and shook his hand, and then obviously went up to Robbo to ask how Brandon Smith was. I mean, it shows the character that Elliot Whitehead is.
Agreed.
He's a great bloke and champion, and obviously it's unfortunate that since he's been suspended for 3 games, that's it for him for his NRL career. And Jordan Rapana the same with the fractured cheekbone as well. So. Look, I mean, all the best to Elliot Whitehead over there in the Super League. I think he's going to Catalans with that crew, so should be good to see him there. But yeah, it's just a shame that that's the note that he ends his career on.
He's been a good footballer, Elliot Whitehead, and I'm glad he came out to Australian shores and tested himself. And not only did he test himself, he was one of the better players in his position for a long period of time. Quick one on one of our players. I thought Liam LeBlanc, again, finally got his opportunity. I think he should have played the previous 2 weeks, personally. But
well, we spoke about it on the show, didn't we?
I think he's he just looks like he's made for it. He played against the biggest, strongest pack in the league, put on a tremendous shot right in front of us where we were sitting. Some of his carries were with purpose. He can even play the link man. I think he played lock there and tipped it on a few times. Really like the look of Liam LeBlanc, and I reckon he might have been tempted to put him in the starting lineup somewhere, Thoughts on Liam LeBlanc, boys?
Well, we spoke. Sorry, Les, but we spoke. Well, I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. That I couldn't understand why he wasn't getting an opportunity in the top 17. He was featuring around 18th and 19th man there for a couple of weeks, and couldn't understand why he was getting a go. And then obviously he got called in to the team last week and did himself proud once again. The amount of times that he's got small minutes, but last week I thought he performed really, really well. And, credit to you, mate. And you're in this team again.
He put a massive shot on, who was it? Was it one of the backs, or it might have even been Fisher Harris? He put a massive shot on in that game at around 60th minute or so. I'm just trying to remember who it was on. It was a huge, and it was unexpected. He just flew out of the line. You were talking about him being a big hitter. I wasn't expecting it against those Penrith pack.
It was Eisenhuth, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was Eisenhuth.
Yeah, there you go. Massive shot in the game. And look, he had some great moments too. I agree. He's got to be in the 17, at least for the rest of the year. Obviously, reassess when we sort of find out who the rest of the signings are.
He's got great technique and he plays with aggression.
Yeah.
And that's always going to come in handy when you're defending. Obviously, you'll probably get tired at stages and drop off tackles. But look, mate, a great little player, and onwards and upwards for Liam LeBlanc over the next couple of years.
And they pigeonholed him as a middle. He could play second row. He can play edge. He grew up playing edge. I've spoken to his old man Benny about it through all his teenage years. He played a lot of it in the back row. So sticking one wide, it's not going to hurt him. I reckon he could jump in there and take Hostie's spot there for a few minutes, bite up a few minutes off Hostie.
I can't wait to see if he puts another shot on against the Roosters. I'd love it. I'd love
he
to see
definitely
it.
will.
Oh, mate, if you're listening, give us one. Give us one.
He'll be fired
Especially
up,
against Carringbar.
Yeah.
Let's get one of the classic Liam LeBlanc shots.
Watch that nickname? Carringbar. D. Larcell. We just nicknamed him.
There you go. Well, that's it. He's one of the tough blokes. Now I'm doing the pre-game show. If you're going to get out there, members, doing a pre-game show, not a post-game show.
So you don't want me there?
Purely because, are you coming or not?
I'm going.
You'll
but
be you'll be eight deep.
I won't be in.
He could be 15 schooners deep, Brownie.
Well, that's why it's a pre-game show, mate. Because by the end of the game, you'll be gone as well.
Because we've got two South Sydney legends leaving, playing their last game, which we haven't mentioned too much on the show tonight. But legendary Tommy Burgess, 249 games he's going to end up on. Didn't get the 250, and Damien Cook has played about 206 games. So that's why they're going to do a lap of honour at the end, and every fan's going to have an opportunity to take a photo with them, say their goodbyes. Because I was down there at the press conference today. I was pretty emotional. Tommy talking about how much he loves the club and what it means to him. He's coming back. Damien Cook sort of even mentioned it too. He said, "This is not the last time you see me here at South. So I'm going to be coming back." Now, whether maybe it's not in a playing capacity, but maybe in a come back to work or do some strength. Imagine him being a strength and conditioning coach. He's never been out of condition his whole career.
He's studying physiotherapy, isn't he, Cookie?
Well, there you go.
Pretty sure he is.
Yeah, and that'll get him in the strengthening conditioning world for sure.
Maybe that's a load of Barney there, but I'm pretty sure he's studying physiotherapy.
No, he would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's got his business out there in the Shire as well. It's a wellness centre, so I think his wife takes care of that. But yeah, he's got a couple of different avenues that he can take after footy. But yeah, both great servants of our club. Played over 450 games between them. Tommy B, obviously a member of the 2014 grand final. Cookie came here as a young bloke looking for an opportunity after being at the Bulldogs, and they've both been wonderful players for this great club. And it's going to be sad to see him go. And like you said, Chaps, make sure everyone gets down there after the game when they do the lap of honour and show your appreciation.
100%. Two servants at the club. Cookie's been with us for a while now since coming over from the Dogs. He's had a journey around rugby league himself, going back to the Dragons where he started as a winger, if you wouldn't believe. But yeah, look, coming back in a coaching capacity for Cookie would be unbelievable. As for Tommy, he's been with us since 2013. Obviously made his debut 2013. Been with us for a long while now. Again, another servant of the club, and he's obviously stayed on when obviously George has left and Sam's left to pursue coaching. He stayed on with us and stayed loyal. So, credit to him.
And Chaps, you were down at training today and you spoke to both of them?
Yeah, I've got interviews coming out there. There's one probably out now, just a little tribute to Tommy Burgess. Just some of the guys like Peter Mamazoulis, Jacob Gagai, and Talis Duncan. Just some little clips about them, what Tom means to them, and what they're going to miss about him and stuff like that. Jump on the YouTube channel to have a look there. Look, Tommy, mate, he's all class. What they speak about is how big he is in recovery. He's one of them blokes who just doesn't go out in the piss all the time after the game. He jumps in the ice bath. He eats the right foods. He does what Les does there. He's cutting. He's bulking and cutting. But I think Tommy's mainly been bulking. But anyway,
what a unit!
I wish I looked like Damien Cook. I'll tell you that for free. The rig on that bloke.
He's got a couple of years over in England. He's not finished his recovery and his stuff like that. He's going to go over there and he'll murder him over there. He'll be outstanding. Damien Cook. He's just such a pro, Damien Cook, isn't he? There's a lot of things to like about him. I can just remember so many tries. I think the one against Melbourne, I think it might have been a semi-final where he carved into pieces. There was the semi-final against Newcastle, I think it was round one, where he scored about a 40-metre try off a loose pass. He has just been unbelievable. And just the fact that he plays pretty much 80 minutes every week, and he's nothing of him when you see him. He'd be 90 kilos at the most, 85, 90 kilos, and he tackles front rowers all day. I'd like to know how many tackles he's done for South Sydney. There'd be a stat out there somewhere. It'd have to be dead set nearly 10,000 tackles, I reckon he's done.
Yeah.
He's been an absolute phenomenon.
I think you said it on the show before, Chaps, the Dragons, they're not only getting a great footballer, but they're getting a great person as well off the field. Like you just said, he's a pro in everything he does, prepares well, eats well, and that's going to rub off on some of the young blokes over there at the Dragons. And Tommy B's the same. Both champions on the field, but even better blokes off it, and they've give us many minutes of their time, and we appreciate that, and we wish you all the best in the future.
Yeah, I think he made his debut against the Roosters in a big win, and he said he wants to go out that way. So hopefully you can live out your dream there, buddy, and beat the Chookies. Day one and your last day. That would be nice to go out that way for sure. We're going to get to the fact that, players, obviously we spoke about those two leaving, but there's a few more leaving, boys. Thoughts on blokes like Tyrone Munro hasn't re-signed yet. Been very strong this year. He leads the NRL in offloads, 57 offloads.
Yeah, wow.
7 more offloads than any other player in the game. So he's going to be a good pickup for someone, or does he hang around, boys? What do you think?
Oh, look, he cops a lot of flack, Tane, from our so-called supporters, some of them anyway. But I thought Tane's been excellent this year. Okay, he makes a few errors, but if we didn't have Tane in a lot of the games that we played this year, the scoreline could have been a lot different, let me tell you. So credit to you, Tane. I'm not sure if you've been picked up by another club as yet, but a quality first grader, like I said before, it's very hard to play one game, let alone, 20, 30, 40, and I'm sure Tane's played many more than that. But, yeah, I thought he's been, like you chaps, one of our best players this year in a struggling and beaten team many weeks of the year.
100% work rate is just unbelievable from Tane this season. He's had big games, 200-metre games coming out of his own end. He's been an absolute beast. And look, to be honest, and look, I'm going to absolutely cop it here in the comment section, but I wouldn't shock me in the slightest if he's very close to centre of the year this year, Dally M's. I reckon he'd be huge smoky for that one.
Yep.
I think Matsimoko is probably leading that. You've got guys like off the top of my head, it's lost it now, but Stephen Crichton would be there. For me, there's not too many other guys that come to head that have been consistent throughout the entire year. Tane Milne's probably one of those guys, so it wouldn't shock me if he's close to that sort of bracket.
Played 21 games for the Bunnies this year, and look, he's had a couple of games that he probably like that, but I reckon 90% of the games he's played, he's been nearly our best player.
Yeah, well,
how many times have we mentioned him this year on the show, boys? 20-plus carries, 200-plus metres.
Chaps, I think he'd take I wouldn't say a couple of games he'd like back. I'd say a couple of moments.
Just a few moments, yeah. The Dolphins one, I think, stands to mind where he blew the 2-on-1. But look, you got to get yourself in a position to blow a 2-on-1 for a start. He backed himself to trample a little Trey Fuller, but it didn't come off. But
I think there was a couple of games there throughout the year, and you might have said it, 200-plus metres about 5 or 6 weeks in a row. And that's outstanding, mate. The work that he does coming in and taking them tough carries for his forwards to have a spell. And like you just said, boys, the offload, he leads the offloads. It's outstanding. I thought he's had a real big year, and hopefully you get picked up, Tane, because you certainly deserve it.
69 games for the Bunnies, mate. So 88 all up. So if someone gets him, they're getting someone with a bit of experience, getting close to that 100-game mark.
Is it the Warriors before that, wasn't he?
Yeah, Warriors, Dragons. I think the Roosters had him originally. He got picked up by them. Southeastern Seagulls Junior.
Yeah.
Too. So shout out to the Southeastern Seagulls. Under 12s, undefeated.
Yeah.
Assistant coach this
Well
year.
done,
so
chaps.
we're in the grand final on Saturday morning.
And just quickly on the grand finals, before we get on to the next point, we will be live streaming the A grade and the A reserve grand final this Sunday through the South Sydney Juniors Facebook page. So make sure you support the juniors on their Facebook page. There'll probably be other live streams going around, but there's only one to be watching. Chaps and I will
we'll preview that one before we another 10 to 15 minutes down the show. But
are you guys at Redfern or at
Redfern Oval?
Yeah, well, there you go.
Redfern Oval Sunday.
My brother's at Leichhardt for the Wombats under 16s. That's going to be a grouse game.
They've got a few teams in at the Wombats, haven't they?
A few teams. I think they're the curtain raiser for the A grade too, so be a good little one to watch. I'm pretty sure there's New South Wales Cup on too before that at 5 o'clock. So they've got a good little day there at Leichhardt from about 1 o'clock.
Well done. Congratulations and wish him all the best.
Great venue, Leichhardt Oval. Richie Kennar, he's done a good job as we spoke earlier. I don't think he's going to be back next year at this stage. No contract there. Jacob Gagai, a bit of a question mark there. I think there was negotiations going on. Nothing has been announced as yet. Look, I'd like to see him come back, boys. Would you like him back?
100%.
I think he's someone that shows potential.
Oh, I think he definitely deserves his opportunity. He's put in some great performances similar to Tane throughout the year in a struggling team. Imagine him in a team that's going forward and got some Campbell Graham inside him and Jai Arrow, who are all quality players. We've got so many quality players on the injured list, and Jacob Gagai would only benefit if they were playing.
100%. Obviously 29 years old as well, and to debut as late as he did, but to have the work ethic to stay on and keep trying and keep pushing to make that debut. He was at Newcastle with his brother, I believe, at the start, and came over to us when his brother did. But he's been unreal for us in the lower grades. He's probably been one of our shining lights in Cup for a few years and was just sort of waiting to get that opportunity. And a lot of guys around 24, 25 just go, you know what, I'm not playing. I need to go and get a job. and he just stuck his head down and then kept trying. 29 years old, and he makes his debut. The work ethic is insane.
Yeah, you're right. Good point there. I think I was at his debut for the Bunnies. It was a trial match at Wentworthville, I think, against Para, and Para had a stack side, and we beat him 40-6 or something like that with a very. I don't think there's only one or two first graders, and he was a standout that day.
Yeah,
And we're at his debut, his first NRL game as well, chaps.
Well, they're in body, but not in spirit. Yeah. I think we might have had too many of those big cans that day.
Las Vegas.
They were only $32 too. Absolute friggin' bargain they were, those cans. But Dean Hawkins, we spoke about him. He's probably going to be playing his last game. Damien Cook and Tom. Michael Cheekham, no deal there for him next year. He's done a great job, Cheeks.
I think he's going to Manly.
Yeah, Manly Sea Eagles.
Yeah, he'll be good value for them. Isaac Thompson, been playing well on the Reggies the last few weeks. He was pretty strong last week. He's probably out the door too. Leon Te'au, who's a young bloke come down from Queensland from our satellite program from up there. Again, he showed a lot of speed. I don't know if you've seen the first try last week in the New South Wales Cup.
I did.
How quick was he?
Yeah, he did. He showed a lot of pace. And look, there's
someone will pick him up.
A lot of spots available, chaps, in the top 30. I don't think we've signed that many, or not that we know of as yet.
I'm pretty sure there's 4 spots still available in the top 30. So yeah. If Gags and pretty sure Shaq's pretty close to hanging around, or that's his indicator that he wants to stay. So it's between him and his manager, and the ink's not quite dry yet. But I think Shaq will be a good addition.
We talked about our backline depth. That's a lot of backline players leaving. It's a lot of
chaps,
wings and centers leaving.
Yeah, you got to think there's a couple of blokes coming in the door, but
that means yes.
Brock Gray, another veteran in New South Wales Cup for years and years. I think he's heading to the Gold Coast Titans. So well done to him. He's named on the extended bench this week. Obviously, Buddy Gordon, he wasn't in the top 30, but Buddy's hung up the boots, and well done to him. He's been a champion. But yeah,
a great servant for the club on the field, and more so off the field too, chaps. Him and his wife Alicia do wonderful,
outstanding
jobs in South Cares, and I'm sure he'll be hanging around in that role as well.
I was shocked to find out that he debuted in 2006. That's it. I was 1 year old at that stage, so far out. It just blew me back a bit.
Yeah, and it was good to see him get a rap on the coverage last week as well. I don't know whether it was Fox or Channel 9, but they honoured him as well and told him, the viewers, that he'd played his last game and he'd hung up the boots. So, yeah, very well deserved, buddy. You've been a great servant of not only our club, but rugby league in general.
Yep.
Yeah, absolute champion, mate. I'd like to get him on. We'll get him on at some stage. You'll have a bit of time on his hands now going forward.
He's an old Rovers boy, and they're playing in the grand final as well.
Don't be surprised if he's not playing for the Rovers next year.
Exactly.
He don't give it up, buddy. He'll be playing in the knockout for sure in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
I think Latrell's declared himself in the knockout. Jack's not playing. I think Tallis Duncan's playing for Lapa, I believe. So, it's going to be an interesting one coming up there. Now, we're just going to put you on the spot here, boys. Look, as I said, there's about 4 spots remaining. If you had to lock in two signings, a forward and a back, who do you think we're going to be targeting?
I've heard a lot of whispers about Liam Knight, so I think he'd be one.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of speculation about Liam. Nothing's been announced from the club. But, look, I'd love to be in a position, and I don't know if we are, to go after Regan Campbell-Gillard. I really think we need a big middle forward. We're losing Tom Burgess.
Big Reggie.
Yeah. I'd love to get him at the club. He's been in some really, really good form. He runs the ball hard. He's got a high work rate. He plays many minutes. He'd be a player that I'd be looking at, but once again,
played Origin too. So he's been played in big games. He's played in a grand final too.
Well, mate, the bloke you spoke about as well on the drive over here, if you don't mind me sharing, in big Corey Horsburgh. Apparently, we're getting into his pocket a little bit and just testing the water there.
Well, I think Balmain are pretty close to sign him though. That's the only thing. Again, Royce Hunt, we just missed out. I think we were in the box seat to sign Royce Hunt. We only had the offer of 2 years. The third year got him over the line. So we missed out there. I think they're paying a little bit more per year as well on the third year. So you can't. Obviously, the temptation to be coached by Wayne Bennett would have been a tough one to give up. But good luck to the Tigers and Benji Marshall. I think he had one meeting with him yesterday. Bang, he agreed straight away. So Benji's a pretty influential man.
Yeah.
Well, they've got
Benji
some
Marshall.
good signings, haven't they, coming? And obviously that's going to influence other players to come in Jerome Luai and Turuva, both quality players. So they're starting to build their team, a little bit like the Dogs did a couple of years ago. And you'll find over the next couple of years, they'll be attracting further players. So, yeah, well done to the Tigers. And, yeah, it's probably bad luck to us. But as a back, I don't know. Who's on the market, chaps?
Not too many blokes quite available. I mean, Corey Oates is someone that just was told to go elsewhere, a veteran outside back, not a quick guy, but as a yardage man. He's got an error in him here and there, very experienced guy. And I'm pretty sure we don't have a lot of money to spend. We're not exactly
I'm not sure
rolling
he'd
in the
take.
cash.
I'm not sure he'd take a lot of money, to be honest. I think that he's aware that he's at that time of his sort of.
I heard.
How old is he? 29, 30?
Yeah.
He's getting on.
He's been around a while, mate.
And he's been in and out of the Broncos team over the last couple of years, hasn't he? They've got some quality outside backs, the Broncos, and he's sort of like just been filling a hole these days.
You know what's
hasn't
that shocked me as well is the fact that he went from a genuine first grader to obviously sitting out and letting Selwyn Cobbo, Dean Mariner, these sort of guys get their opportunities. Then he has an opportunity to go to Penrith and to Newcastle, and he turned them both down to stay with the Broncos. He re-signed, and now they've just told him that they're going to be giving him a release and that he's free to look elsewhere for next year. So,
like we said at the start of the show, Les, it happens, mate. They can't keep
Well,
everyone.
you never know. I think, who knows? Wayne works in mysterious ways. He knows how to find out who wants to come and who doesn't. And I think the people we're going to sign are blokes who are actually signed up right now. They're going to get releases. The bloke I reckon is in the box seat is Avarillo, who wants to come back to Sydney. Now, I don't know if you watched that game the other night where they touched out the Bronx. Outstanding.
Yeah.
If he gets on the outside here, which Cody Walker's great at making people run onto the ball on an overs line, man, he'd be fantastic. South Sydney early ball.
He's an exciting player, and one thing that he's got a bit of speed, chaps, and that's something that we're crying out for over the last couple of years is speed, and we don't have much of it. And maybe another player, and he's under Wayne at the moment. I don't know how true it is, but maybe Tessie New. He's not in the top squad at the moment. He's playing in the Queensland Cup.
The big unit, mate.
Yeah, he's a big unit. If we can get him fit, similar to Josh Schuster, get him fit, and they'll be quality players. So,
well, let me ask you this, boys. Avarillo comes to the Bunnies. Where does he play?
I'd play him centre.
Yeah, that's the
But you'd
thing.
have to.
Where do you fit him in? Like, I mean, you got Jack Wighton, you got Campbell Graham. Is Campbell Graham end up a winger? Tyrone Munro, you got Alex Johnson. Look, when you nail it down and you add a few of those guys that you're talking about, you add an Avarillo, for example, or you add a Liam Knight or a Schuster or a Emre Goulet, throw that name out there too. He's a possibility too. You throw those four guys in, for example, mate, it's a freaking tough squad.
Well, chaps, you need depth, don't you? We just spoke about it early on in the show about the Roosters, how they've got 5 key players, 5 starting players out this weekend, and they're still fielding a strong side because of their depth. Us, we're blooding young players that probably wouldn't make an NRL team in other teams, but yeah, you need that depth. And by signing them players, I think it'll only help.
Let's go back to the first ever Gurmat to play for South. We had to bring Gurmat Shibasaki in for a 1-week contract just to field a team. Matty French, we had to sign him up to a deal because he was in a second tier contract. He got to live out his dream and play for the Bunnies. This is the depth that we didn't have, that second, third tier depth that we were like this year because of so many of the calf injuries. I think it was 20 or 30 calf injuries in the last 12 months. So,
and they're still happening. Jack Wighton, calf injury. Jack,
back to Avarillo for 2 seconds. Can I make a big call here for next year? If we sign Avarillo, I'd be playing him fullback, and I'd have Latrell back in the centres.
Well, that's. I mean,
I'd love to see Latrell on the front line somewhere. 6 in the centres, whatever. The bloke's an animal.
I've been calling for him to play 6 all year, but we'll have to wait and see. That's the beauty about Wayne Bennett. He won't give away any of his tricks until round 1, and we really look forward to it. Chaps, you might be able to get it out of him. You've got a good relationship with him, so
why not? Have to get him up at Site Pizza.
Yeah, one of our great sponsors.
He loves a bolognese at Site Pizza.
Yeah,
Big Wayne. So that'd be interesting, mate. Look, well, what about the girls? They got 2 games to go. They come off a great win against St George the other day. They're down there at 3 p.m. It is Zeems Park down there in Wollongong. They're playing the Steelers, who are above them on the table, and the Knights. They still need other results to go their way, but they win the last two. They're in the semis, and the only club in any of the pathways, first grade cup, to possibly make the semis this year. So we're rooting for you girls. Anyone in that Wollongong region, get down and get behind it because they're playing bloody good football.
Yeah,
Led by Matty Stud.
Yeah, congratulations to Maddie and young Dorothy, who's coaching the girls. They've put on some great performances over the last couple of weeks, getting a couple of wins. And, yeah, hopefully they can win their last two games and play semi-final football. And that was their goal when they first started these teams and the pathways. The Lisa Fiola Cup is to put a team together that's going to be very competitive. And this year they have. And, well done to you girls. And we wish you all the very best in the next two games.
Yeah, Chanel Lyons has been on fire.
Yeah.
I think 3 or 4 tries in the last few
And
weeks.
Michaela Langer too. She's been going well as well. So, yeah, well done.
Yeah, they put up some great performances over the past few weeks, as you said, Brownie. So keen to see if they can get that result and play some finals football.
That's it. Come from the clouds and win the thing. Look, we're going to preview that A-grade grand final.
Yep.
Coogee Wombats versus the Alexander Rovers. His young bloke's been playing from a bit this year, first grade and reserves, Brownie.
Yep, yeah, that's right. And congratulations to both teams in the A grade. Now, both these teams didn't have an A grade last year. The Coogee Wombats weren't in the competition, and the Alexandria won the A reserves, but they didn't have an A grade team. So it's a big effort for both teams to be playing in the grand final on Sunday when they didn't have a team last year. But yeah, we'll be live streaming that game, so make sure you jump onto the South Juniors Facebook page. The A grade's kicking off at 3:30. I think we'll start the live stream at about 3. Might have a couple of interviews, and we'll be live streaming the A reserves as well between the, once again, Redfern All Blacks, who played in that game last year against the Alexandria Rovers, and the Mascot Football Club.
Yep, there's a big A reserves game on too. Look, they put a bit of a couple of games in between.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the stories are there, but yeah, look, couple of good sides there. They're big sides. We know Mascot's a big side in the A reserves. Also Redfern, they won it last year in A grade and got beaten the Reggie, so they're a very experienced side. But look, the A grade, just looking at that, there's some players to watch there. Brownie, tell us a bit about this Rovers side. There's Kieran Mundine. He's one of the quickest blokes you've ever seen on a rugby league field.
Yeah.
Tricky Trindle's young bloke.
Yeah, Jake Trindle, he'll be playing number 7. I've watched a couple of their games. Jai Seymour's another one who's a very experienced player, been around the traps.
Good player,
played Ron Massey Cup. Also played, and a lot of these players played in that A Reserves grand final last year, so they know how to win. Denver Burns, now he's got a bit of an injury cloud.
He's got a hemi, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a...
Seen him on the other day.
Yeah, he's got an injury cloud. He'll make a decision later in the week, but like you said, Chaps, there's a couple of experienced players in there with a bit of youth as well. Kirill Phillips is another player that played last year.
Won the grand final for Mano a couple of years ago. He was a star. He had a couple of try assists and scored one. Experienced player. On the other side...
talking of experience, on the other side, one and only.
Jason Clark, yeah. So Jason Clark's experience is going to be huge. We know what he's done. Any South fan. Look, Bear Williams, one of our lower graders, and Paddington Bear. He's from Paddington in England, believe it or not. He's a bit of a unit. He's got a bit of hair flowing around there. Ben Geary, I think he played his first game of flag on the weekend. He's one to look out for. Jake Tobin, fullback. They reckon he's got a mullet like Andre Agassi, so that's one to look out for.
Yeah, Timmy Bennett is another player, a very experienced player, played over in the French Rugby League, and he also played for the Matraville Tigers when they won the competition a couple of years ago. So watch out for Timmy Bennett. Geez, he can hit. He can hit like a Mack truck, let me tell you. He's only small, but he's got great technique.
There's a few SG ball blokes there for the Bats too. Sam Taylor, they're very young side, the Bats. They're not the biggest mobile side, but... lively hooker. He's from down the south coast, I believe. He plays a bit of halfback hooker. He caught the eye in a few trials down there at Redfern last year. Travis Felsh, a young front rower.
Well, his old man played for the Dragons, Luke Felsh, and the Gold Coast Titans. So, yeah, keep an eye out for him.
There you go. Evan Manning. We spoke about his old man on the show. He's Seki, who does a bit of sprint coaching down there at Pioneer Park. He's one to watch.
Shout out to Shane as well. I played with Seth for Marcelin as well. We played rugby sevens together. He's very quick, but unlucky with his kneecap a few times during that season. So Yeah, look, keen to see how the older brother goes there. Be a good game. I can't wait for this one. It's going to be such a tough game.
Well, they're one of the more successful teams in A grade, the Wombats. They won a lot of titles in the 90s, early 2000s, even the 80s. Didn't they? Had some good sides.
Well, they've won 10 of the last 20 A grades.
Yeah, they're
and
very
a couple
successful.
of years they haven't been involved. So very successful. It's going to be a little bit different. Old Wammy Hill back in the day, many, many years ago, it was a great place to be on grand final day. Wammy Hill, the beers were flowing. The Potts points were getting passed around, but things have changed these days. There's no hill over there, but there will be still plenty of support there for the Coogee Wombats. Make sure you get down there, or if not, jump onto the South Juniors Facebook page to watch the live stream and expert commentary from Grant Chappell and myself.
Yeah, it should be good fun down there. And the Rovers haven't won a comp since 1990. A little story about that one. Craig Field was in the C grade, won the under-21s the game before, and he was getting showered up, and the coach said, "Look, mate, you mind just getting dressed and sitting on the bench?" He hadn't played A grade at all, not one game. And Ray Byrne, a legend from that era back then, one of the great halfbacks, he got hurt 15 into it. Craig Field come on and steered him home to a 16-12 victory.
Wow.
The story there is courtesy of one of the players from that team, John Atherton, on the wing there. So,
well, we're hoping to get a couple of the old boys up for an interview, so make sure you tune in early to the coverage, and you might be able to hear a couple of them stories.
For sure. Now, I'd like to thank you all year. Obviously, this is the last team this Tuesday of the year. On behalf of the boys here, I'd like to thank all your listeners, and thanks for getting behind us. Please like, subscribe, and share. And there'll be plenty of content coming up in the off season. A lot of interviews coming up.
Well, we've got the Pacific Championships as well, chaps. So hopefully we've got a couple of players involved in that, like we did a couple of years ago or last year. A couple of them teams. We've got a lot of Polynesian boys playing in our club, so hopefully we'll get a couple in. Cameron Murray expected, hopefully, to be in the Aussie side.
Yep.
So we'll still be around. A big thank you to all our sponsors as well. So we won't name them all, but our most important one up the back here, Darryl Lee. Make sure you get out there and buy some chocolates at any IGA, Coles, Woolies store. They are unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you what, boys, and to the listeners as well, one of those boxes might be missing come next episode too. It depends how long I last on this cut, just quietly.
Yeah, well, I might knock one off myself. I've eaten all my boxes are gone. Well, that might be it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitohs.
Up the Rabbitohs.
Oh, the bunnies. Kill.
Higgins charges head on.